So in the group page today, I just wanted to share this on the Embrace Your Fears group page. My friend Kevin shared, he put a post on this morning, which I loved. It was called, he shared it, I think it was on LinkedIn. Get some great posts in that group. And Kevin put this post on called Imposter Syndrome, which is what I've called this little film clip. I hadn't heard it called this before, but when I read the article, and like I say, it's on the group page, it's worth a read. It just made me laugh, because I don't know how many times in my life I've felt that exactly that way, like an imposter. Like I said, I'd never heard it called that before. And basically what he was saying, the amount of times we're in a situation and we think people are going to find us out. I remember, and I've had this with loads of clients as well, I remember working with a woman. She was a businesswoman. She used to come and see me in her lunch break. She was always really smartly dressed. And she had a suit. She wore a suit. She was always immaculately dressed. And I noticed whenever we talked about work, she'd tap her foot. And I remember saying to her one day, I like to read body language, but sometimes you can't just read it. So I ask people. And I said to her, I notice whenever we talk about work, you tap your foot. And she went really quiet. And I thought I'd lost her. But then she said, I work in an office full of men. It's an IT office. This is going back a few years. I'm the only woman, and they've just put me in charge of the office. And she said, I know some of the men don't like it. And they come to me with all their IT problems. And I know some of the guys are resentful. So she said, all they can see is the top half of my body because I sit at a desk. So they can't see my feet. And she said, when they bring their problems to me, I've got to be really professional, and I'll show them this half. But underneath, my little foot is going like that and tapping and tapping and tapping. And when we looked at it, the little foot was, we could go, I don't want to go, I've talked about this before, but the foot was almost like the little girl in her that was scared of being found out. She was scared that she was going to be found out, that she wasn't good enough to do the job. And people would find that out, and they would laugh at her, and they would ridicule her, and she would feel stupid. And when I read that thing this morning, it just reminded me of that, and also the times in my life. It's been a really common scenario for me. Going way back to school, I remember getting picked for the school football team. Growing up, for me, football was massive, and getting picked for the school team. We had a good school team. And getting picked for it and thinking, going out onto the pitch and being terrified that they were going to find out I wasn't that good, which probably led me to playing not that well and never being picked again. Going into the fire service, sitting in a room the first day, it took 2 years, that whole process of getting picked to be a fireman, sitting in the room that first day with 24 other people, 24 other guys, and I remember thinking to myself, these people are all going to be cleverer than me. I don't know how I've got here. Only 4 out of every 100 people who apply get in. I don't know how I've did it. I'm just lucky. I'm just lucky to be here. They're going to find out that I'm not good enough. I'm never going to get through this. I'm going to be the worst one in the class, especially academically, which was a nightmare for me. As it turned out, I wasn't. I wasn't the worst one in the class. I did okay, which is normally the case. When I went for my counselling, I started a week after everybody else. I applied for the course and they said to me it was full, and I was really disappointed. Then I got a telephone call saying someone hadn't turned up. Do I still want the place? So I started a week after everybody else. I remember turning up at the college to do my diploma. Went to the main office and they said, oh, your class is over there, just go and knock the door. And I remember thinking, everyone in this class, they all met each other last week. It's all going to be social workers and teachers. I'd never done anything like counselling before. And I remember standing outside the door for ages with my hand like that, ready to knock, and thinking, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. That's why I always admire people who come to my classes and stuff. Walking through the door for the first time is really hard. And in the end, I knocked and walked in, which is what I've always done. I feel this imposter syndrome. But I still go forward anyway, which I'm quite proud of. I'm in the NHS tomorrow in London. I'll be teaching 30 consultants, and I know before I get there, I get them last thing in the day as well. They'll have done a whole week of training, up until me. They don't want to be there. They're really highly intelligent people, and I know for the first 5 or 10 minutes they'll probably have a little bit of a go, and I'll feel like they're going to, these people, you know, they're geniuses, they're going to catch me out. They never do, but that imposter syndrome will be there again, but I'll still do it. I'll still step up and do it. So if you're feeling this and you felt it, which I'm guessing a lot of people have, then, you know, you're just a normal human being feeling normal things. There's nothing wrong with that. Interestingly enough, the next post that came on the Embrace Your Fears site today was a post from Bob, who lives in Australia. And Bob was just sharing a quote, which I heard a long time ago by from a guy called Wayne Dyer. I don't know if Wayne... it was Wayne's quote, but that's the first time I ever read this quote. And this is something that's always helped me. I know everyone's different, but this is something that's always helped me. And the Wayne Dyer quote was, if you knew who walked beside you on this path that you have chosen, you'd never be scared again. You know, and I read that years ago, and I do still get scared, and I probably will get scared again. But when I remind myself of that, you know, who I'm connected to, who's walking beside me, that really helps me to step forward. You've got to find your own way of doing this, and there are loads of ways of doing it. You know, I work with people in different ways in my coaching and therapy work, but for me, that's something that really works. You know, that feeling of connection. I'm connected to something bigger. You know, there's people all around me walking with me that will help me if I ask for help, from all sorts of places. So that's the message for today. Thanks to Kevin and thanks to Bob for sharing in the group page. If you're not on it, have a look, because there's loads of good stuff on there. I'll put articles on there and films, and other people put articles and things on there as well. So thanks everybody. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.